Hello and welcome back to Blue Crescent Tarot. My name is Deanne and today I am here to record part 2 of #Tarot Shelf. I decided not to put a year on it because this is my first year doing this tag. So it's just Tarot Shelf for me, but I am recording this in February 2022 and this is a VR originally to Simon at the Hermit's Cave. You may have already seen my first video where I split some categories up and I showed Lenormand, astrology, a couple other random decks like a numerology and a Kipper deck that I have, some playing card decks, and just other general cartomancy. So that was my part 1, and I have since changed my mind about the remaining parts. So today is going to be part 2, and it will be about half of my tarot collection. The next one I record will be part 3, being the second half of my tarot collection. And then parts 4 and 5 will be half of my oracle and then the other half of my oracle. So I decided to split it up like this since some of my decks are in bags and I'll have to open them up anyway. And then every once in a while when the mood strikes, I will open up and show a few cards, similar to how I ended up doing it with that first video where I showed primarily Lenormand decks. So that's the recap. Just had to fill you in since I had changed my mind about how we're going to do this. And yeah, I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. These are in no particular order. Some companion decks will probably be shown in part 1 and part 2. They are not organized in that fashion as of right now. So just so you know, there's I have little mini collections like things from Labyrinthos. Some of those you might see today, some of those you might see in part 3. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. This first one I chose is the Trinity Tarot. This is by Ari Wisner, and I am a super fan of this deck, so I'm going to show you just a couple. So a very simple, clean, what I would call a symbols-based deck. The courts have been renamed, but we do have basic imagery that sort of echoes or mirrors RWS. So I think it's fine for most people who are familiar with that system to pick up and sort of run with it. So you'll see some familiar images, things like that. With the Two of Swords, we have the crescent moon like we do in the original, and the 2 swords, right? So again, it's very simple, but I think kind of does the trick, and I just love the artwork, love the concept, and so far have loved everything that Ari Wisner has done. So just a note for you there. Okay. So there's my Trinity. I love that it's square. I just love everything about it. Oh, and I left some in there. Let's not do that. Okay. I'm going to try to keep this semi-organized as I set things down. I'm just going to shove them under the table so I know what I have done and what I haven't. We have here Lightseer's Tarot. I'm going to say something that annoys me when other people say it. Everyone has seen this deck, right? Probably you have. This is one of my favorites, gifted to me by a very sweet friend, and basically some modern imagery, beautiful artwork, and potentially more relatable things depicted here than maybe in other traditional decks. Love the handwriting, just love everything about it, and again, is special because I received it as a gift. True Black Tarot. This was one of my earliest tarot decks, actually, probably in my first 10 or 15, and this is actually the version that has a typo somewhere, I think possibly with a hierophant, I don't really remember, but this is by Arthur Wang, True Black, and a very thick, rose petally, lush kind of deck. like many things, we can say for many things, not for everyone, but it's definitely for me. I think it's beautiful and otherworldly and just really amazing. I might show you sneak peeks of most of them. We'll see, because I love all of my decks. I was laughing, had a live stream this morning and was asking my friends how I should go about this collection video. Here we have Transient Light by Ari Wisner. And they said, you know, go ahead and show some cards. So we'll just see what I can get through in about 45 minutes. So that it's not too much to watch in one sitting, and that it's not too much in terms of uploading and all of that, because I'm just using my phone. So anyway, similar to the Trinity Tarot, but this is a fuller depiction. I, again, love this deck. There are no people in it. And the courts have been redone. And while it's similar, I guess I'm just kind of repeating myself, saying that it's like a fuller image, but they have a similar vibe, but different enough that I absolutely had to have both. These are the two decks, Trinity and Transient Light, that I have by Ari Wisner. Those are the two that they've created thus far, and I just really enjoy working with both of them. Mons Tarot. I do have Whispering Spirits, but I won't get into that yet because I don't know where it is. You will see it, but anyway, this is one of those examples that I was mentioning that, you know, I have the quote-unquote sister deck, but we may not see it today. It just depends. Look how cute. Now, little creature decks are not always my thing, but I really love Joanna Nelson's artwork, and I love this deck. This is the Czechoslovakian version of the Shadowscapes Tarot. Notoriously sort of not because of how busy it is and the smaller cards. I was lucky enough to find this secondhand with the bigger cards. Now, the smaller ones don't really bother me that much. I have pretty decent eyesight, and I'm able to use the other one just fine, but I do understand how that would be frustrating for some people, because it is beautiful. And if you look around, you can find a bigger version. Moonchild Tarot, one of my absolute favorites, but again, I'm going to say that for just about everything. Really love my decks and get joy out of using all of them. This was one of my very earliest decks, Angel Tarot cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. This, I believe, along with the rest of them, has been redone, rebranded, though I don't think he's redone all of her decks, but reads a bit like an oracle due to, I think, the style of the images and the phrasing at the bottom, but it is structured as a tarot, so I definitely include it here in this category. And then we have the Akashic Tarot. This is another Hay House deck. This is one of the only decks that's not 78 cards that I include in tarot, and I explained this in the live stream that I did when I was actually unloading the shelves, deciding which decks were going to go in which categories, though most of them are pretty self-explanatory. This one I did end up keeping with the tarot because of the structure that it has. Now, I do have oracle decks that have structure to them, but I did not include them here. I think this is the only kind of crossover one. It really, for lack of a better phrase, it just reads like a tarot deck to me. So while it is different and it is geared toward Akashic records and things like that, and the meanings are some overlap, but definitely different than any other standard, quote-unquote standard tarot, this one, because of the structure, I left here in the tarot category. So I really love this deck. It's something kind of cool and different and interesting. So if you are intrigued by things like that, maybe something for you to check out. Bianco Nero. This is one of my only black and white decks, and I will just flip it over and show you the Justice card because she is my absolute favorite. I plan to have her tattooed on me someday before too long. Yeah, really love the artwork and the feel of this deck and figured I would add a black and white one to my collection. Deviant Moon Tarot. This is the original with borders. This was gifted to me by a sweet friend. Has Patrick's artwork in the top of the box, and I'm just going to pull one out here to show the borders. I was on the fence about this deck for a very long time. The only Patrick Valenza deck I had for the longest time was the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle in a few different editions. I then added Mildred Payne's Oracle of Black Enchantment Midnight Edition, and at the same time, another one that we will see today, the Purple Triumphi della Luna. So this was actually, I received after the Triumphi, and because it was coming from a certain someone, and because it had the borders, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give that a try, and I used this as my daily deck this past August and really enjoyed it. So I'm glad I gave it a try, and I'm very happy to have added it. See how well the tuck box behaves. Oh, not too badly, actually. Okay. Next is a Chris Kelly McFadden Made Me Do It. Chris at Elemental Cartomancy got me into this deck, Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. I super love it. It has, I described this one. Oh, there she is. So here's my favorite, Queen of Cups, who I likely identify most with. I love that it's red because it's not usually my my favorite, but it feels like my Aries moon, and I love rain. So because all these things kind of came together, and this card came up in a reading that Chris had done for me on his channel, I just immediately was hooked. And then the rest of it too, because there are different colors than what I would usually associate with these things, that was really intriguing to me. So it's just a really interesting deck. It feels very earthy and yet very cosmic to me, which is something I love. Love that kind of cosmic connection. There's kind of like ghost and spirit associations to me throughout this deck, but still very grounded. So that was another reason that I went for that. Blank card in there. Forgot that existed. So a very different kind of thing, and something that I thought really helped to add something unique to my collection. So yeah, and it's super lush and amazing. Then the 5-cent tarot, one of my favorites. How many times am I going to say that? Probably a lot. I have the lavender. I mean, look at the edges. Oh, it's just beautiful. It's like the most gorgeous linen cardstock. Oh, amazing. It's just beautiful and different, and I love it so much. I love all the wordiness. I love the busyness of the image. I just love it all. I'm an English major, and so all these words thrown on here is great for me. I welcome keywords. Don't need them. I could just have a cauldron on a card, but I also love stuff like this. I've mentioned before that this deck has given me one of the quote-unquote realist readings ever. One of those questions that you only ask yourself because other tarot readers are not going to answer that sort of question for you. Without getting into too much detail, it answered a question that some people might say, did you want to know the answer to that? And I really did, and it told me. And so it prepared me for a serious tower moment in my life. As soon as I just pulled 3 cards asking a question about something major that was happening, and it told me straight up, and that helped me the next day when I got the news that it helped me prepare for something huge in my life. So it has a special spot in my heart for sure. Next, we have Mystic Mondays Tarot. I did buy this brand new. I buy a lot of things secondhand, so that's what I almost said, but I did end up buying this brand new. It's a very modern, clean, kind of color black take. This is one that's pretty well known. There was, I think, some drama when it was first on Kickstarter or whatever, which was a little bit before my time on TarotTube. But I was not involved in any of that, and I don't know. I can understand how that would be annoying for some people. This I bought once it was mass market. I had no issues with it. I think it is cool and fun, and I'm, again, happy to have that one in my collection. Crow Tarot by MJ Cullinane. Love this deck. Don't feel bad because I'm not opening it. I just want to keep moving. And since this is pretty popular right now, along with MJ's other decks, I'm just going to set it aside because otherwise we will be here a long time. So here's one that we need to open because, well, I do know what's in it. This is my Inspired Soul Tarot by Julie Rose of Peekaboo Rose here on YouTube. You will have seen a handful of her decks in my Lenormand and other cartomancy video. This, I think, was the first Julie Rose deck that I had. It reminded me a bit of the Idiosyncra deck, which at the time I didn't have, but just these little snapshots of like a home, and because of the way the art style is, it reminded me of that, right? Like symbols based, but just really cute, pretty deck. And yeah, for those reasons, it reminded me of the Idiosyncra deck. And again, at the time I was obsessed and I did not have that deck. I now am lucky enough to have both, but these are definitely different enough that, you know, this is very valid on its own. I love pip decks. I love everything that I can read into these 7 buttons, right? So if you're into pips, this might be something fun for you. Look at the queen, like the bookshelf, right? Again, Idiosyncra deck vibes, but also, again, very much its own thing. So 6 of Cups, the idea is that this uses passions and hobbies as the different suits. And then the majors are super cute graphics like this. Yeah. Hierophant, just a great deck. The backgrounds are really beautiful, and look at that world card. This is just a great, great reader, easy on the eyes, fun. So much to say about it. This is available at Make Playing Cards along with the rest of Julie's awesome creations. Then we have, look at those sparkly silver edges. This is also from Make Playing Cards. This is a Veronica Jude deck called Don't Panic, I think. That's what I always call it because that's what it says on the back. So this is a photo and quotes deck. Now, I've said before, I have the regular and the mini. We will come along to the mini at some point. I bought different cardstocks and different edgings from Make Playing Cards for the 2 different decks. So this is one of my favorite things, maybe because I was watching Veronica Jude's channel throughout the time that she was creating this. And so being in on that, like labor of love, and seeing her progress and hearing about different things she was thinking about while she was making this, it was just amazing. The Nurturer, so this would be like the Queen. So the only things that have titles are the quartz, but they are movable quartz. You can choose, because it doesn't say Queen, you know, you can choose your hierarchy or your placements or whatever you want to say. I think eventually I am going to, like with a silver marker, put little codes on these so I know what this is. And then So I just happen to know this one's Queen of Water, but like the minors, I don't know. I usually use this as an oracle right now because I don't know what they are offhand. But I do have a list, and I am planning to go through and mark them, and then I'll leave my mini one unmarked, and then I'll have one and one, and then I'll kind of learn what each card is, right? So this, make your wishes your reality. I don't know, maybe this is 9 cups, right? Not really sure, but like to give you an example, there are 78 cards here, and they do all intentionally correspond to a tarot card, though you could set your own to them if you wanted, okay? So anyway, it's sort of a build your own thing because it's unlabeled, but I would like to have one of mine marked with what her intentions were for each card. Love. Okay. Then we have Centennial, Borderless. We know these images, yes. I prefer borders, but I did want a bigger copy. I have the smaller one in a tin, which we will get to. But if you've been hanging around my channel for a while, you know that I love layering cards, as in, similar to Lenormand with houses and then cards on top. Yeah, so I had to have both sizes. Plus, I'm in love with the backs and wanted both colors. So there you have it. Next, we have, this might be that other Shadowscapes. Yeah, so here we go. Here is the smaller original English version, anyway, of the Shadowscapes. This was probably one of my first 6 or 7 decks. I bought this right off the shelf at Barnes & Noble. Yeah, and really fell in love with it because at the time, all I was working with was RWS for a really long time, Yellow Box, Philip Hermit's Crystal Tarot, and Cheryl Marchetti's Gilded Tarot. And so this was such a different artistic vibe than any of those, and I was very excited to have something so gorgeous and whimsical and again, just different from what I had. This was so exciting to me when I first got it because it just really stood out. So, there you have it. Let's see what's next. The Homebound Tarot. This is one that I bought secondhand on a buy-sell trade group through Facebook. Not regular Facebook Marketplace, but specific tarot pages, okay? I have never seen a legit deck in the general marketplace, so please be aware of that. This is not one I've seen very much at all, if ever, on channels and things like that. I have seen one called the Line Maker, not Line Strider, but there is one that my friend Richie at Longman Tarot shows, and I can't think of what it's called, but it's similar. The figures are drawn in this manner. Okay, but this is a different thing. But yeah, I bought this secondhand, maybe with 2 or 3 other decks in a little bundle. It was a great price. It was something I had not seen before and thought it would be really awesome to add to my collection. Simple, really gentle feeling. Yeah. Find all kinds of great stuff on those buy-sell trades. Just always good to keep an eye out. You never know when you're going to find something on a great deal. Here is my slag bag that I won on, it was Becca Toxin Tarot, and that's just what is in my head. Becca's Home in Tarot, I believe is what it is now. So this bag was made by Peggy, and it was designed, I think, by Jamie at Wandering Mountain Bardic Path, and possibly Simon helped with this. There's something, it was a group effort, And there were a few of these available to win on Becca's channel, and I actually won a bag. So there, that's my story. You can find this style of bag though at, I think it's called Sparks Creations. If you can't find it, leave me a comment and I will look it up. Okay, so this is the CS Tarot. I just recently ordered the mini with the black backs. This one is the orange backs. There are amber backs available, so I wanted to make sure I said the right thing. I love this coloration. I love the crackle through to the front of the card. Love the borders, love everything about this. So yes, Conrad Stein or the CS Tarot on Make Plain cards. You can buy all kinds of sizes and backs. I recently bought the mini with the black crackle backs. So really awesome deck. And again, love having the different colorations because I was not a fan of the yellow backs, plaid backs. That whole color scheme was not my jam, but that's what I used for a long time. So then I was so happy when other colors came out. Speak of the devil, there is my trusty yellow box. We all know what this looks like, right? Blue plaid backs are in here, and as much as I used to complain about the colors, I do have a soft spot in my heart for this deck, as this was the first one I ever had way back when I was in junior high. Not this copy, but this edition. Okay, let's see what's in this purple bag. Maybe my Ananda Tarot? Yeah, so I have the Ananda Tarot German version. This deck is amazing to me. The English version is on my wish list, so if you have any leads on that, let me know. I love this because it is beautiful and starry and cosmic, and it has orbs or spheres or, you know, which is one of my favorite things to have in a deck. It feels a little, what do I want to say? A little alien, a little ghostly. I just love everything about this. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, it is. So anyway, found this from, this might have been one of my only eBay decks. I think that's right. Yeah, Ananda Tarot. Super in love. Okay, then we have the Crystal Tarot by Philip Hermit, which I had just mentioned. This is a very formative deck in my practice. This is what I used 95% of the time when I was working in a metaphysical shop doing readings in person. Each card has a different crystal associated with it. I think orange calcite repeats for a 5 and a 10, but everything else has a unique crystal associated with it. Just beautiful if you are wanting to learn about crystal associations and things like that. Blue lace agate. There's one of the orange calcites. That's a hematite, just not polished. So the book is cool. It gives little ametrine. It gives a traditional tarot meaning, plus some things that I think are kind of unique. There are some unique lines in the book that I have held on to again because this was such a formative one for me. It's really nice. The crystal information in it helped me to kind of anchor different meanings, or meanings for each card, I should say. And there's also a zodiac or planet and a chakra assigned to each card. So it's a really great deck, inexpensive, and packs a lot of information. And look, there's a fully clothed child on the sun card. So if that's something that's intriguing, there you go. Okay, I'm going to start reaching behind to stick some of these up so I don't build myself in here. Silver Witchcraft Tarot. This is by, who is this by? Little Scarabeo. Okay, so I maybe got this, I don't know. I mean, I bought it online for sure. It wasn't one that I like took off the shelf. But I'm not going to open it up because it's a tuck box and it's going to annoy me. But I would say pretty standard imagery and meanings. But again, at the time that I got it, it was just a little something different to add into my collection. And these I'll put right back in this little divider. Celestial Tarot by Kay Steventon and Brian Clark. This was one of my earlier decks. Very interesting, not standard. Meanings are varied a little bit, but if you're into zodiacs and things like that, this is a cool one that kind of branches off, is how I would describe it. Gilded Tarot. When I got back into tarot, this was one of my first three. I bought this, the yellow box, and that Crystal Tarot by Philip Hermit that I had showed you. I had lots of use out of that deck. Neutral Vibes Tarot. This is one that I just got. This was like a bonus from a Kickstarter for the Divine in Play, and actually the Refine in Play is the one that I backed. And then I also added on Divine in Play, which I believe was the first Kickstarter for that person, and I can't think now of the person's name, so I apologize. I think I figured it out in the live the other day, but anyway, I think one of the stretch goals was this Neutral Vibes Tarot, or maybe it was like an early bird or something like that. Anyway, very cool, and I'm digging it. Then we have Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot. I fell in love with this because of watching Veronica Jude work with it. You can go to her channel and check out artwork by this creator, and that she has a big book of their artwork, and to listen to her talk about all those things is just incredible. You just got to check it out. Crystal Visions Tarot. This was a way back. This was one of my earliest decks. Art History Tarot for Past Lives by Red Orchid Publishing. This is amazing. This is one of my more recent acquisitions. I have the regular companion book and the workbook that go with this, and I would definitely recommend the workbook. It is so amazing for past life work, and the way that they break down the attributes for, let's say, Queen of Pentacles as a place, as a person, as a cause, like whatever part of that sentence that it is you're trying to fill in for that past life, there's a whole grid of information that makes the cards associate to the who, the where, the what, if that makes sense. I wondered how it was going to do that really, and how much kind of legwork I'd have to do to make things fit, but you really don't have to make anything fit. I hope I'm describing this well enough. I do have a live video where I talk about this, and it is in the title, so please check it out if you're interested, because I go through the first couple exercises in the live. So amazing deck. Can't say enough about it. This is the Rider-Waite Renewed by SCG, or Seeking Celestial Grace. This was a Kickstarter. Very interesting little deck. It has keywords. Oh, sorry for shaking the camera. I'm still getting used to this. It has Kabbalistic and Tree of Life path information on it. Also has Zodiac keywords over here. Chief Among the Mighty. I love when cards have like a subtitle. So, you know, the Emperor, Chief Among the Mighty. I just love that. It makes me think of Spirit Keepers by Benabel Wen, when there's that that other classification for the person, the character, the card. And then our normal keywords down here, normal as in not the Zodiac keywords. But I love all of the extra stuff piled on. Give it to me. Couple more in here. This one is more recent in my collection. I got this maybe 6 or 8 months ago, the Pamela Coleman Smith RWS Tarot deck. Beautiful color palette, looks like a cloudy day and is right up my alley. So beautiful. And last but not least in this little desk organizer over here is the Radiant Rider-Waite. This was the first recoloration that was in my collection, I think. It was between this and the Centennials, but I do think it was this one. The line work was so much cleaner. The colors were different. I could not ask for anything more. I was so happy to have this because it just was so different and clear and beautiful colors. I was so happy not to have, like, some of the yellow is still there, right? But it's not all that bright garish yellow. There's enough balancing it out. It was just enough to make me so happy. So I had to show a bit of that. And plus I love the starry backs. Okay, kids, we're making some pretty good progress here. We're at 35 minutes. Let me see what else I have in reach so I can move this over. And then we have the Zillich Tarot. This is Thoth-based, sort of a hybrid and abstract art, I would say. Not abstract. Some of it is more abstract than others, but I thought it was really beautiful and different, and at the time really added something unique to my collection. Who doesn't love something a little different that comes in a tin, right? Then we have Tarot of Shadows. This is one that my husband gifted to me for Christmas a few years ago. I had no idea about it until I opened it up on Christmas Day. Hadn't heard of the deck or anything like that. This is another one after I got it and looked it up. I found a video by Jenna at Jennifer Ball's Witch House here on YouTube. She has a video about this, and Veronica Jude has a video about this. So very interesting deck. The numbers and the cards run, like the numbers run forward, the cards run backward kind of thing. So like the Ace of Pentacles is the last card in the deck, and it sort of runs like in reverse to a regular tarot deck. Don't know if that totally makes sense, but has all kinds of weird stuff like this in it, which I love. Different symbols, different biblical characters, demons, creatures, just amazing. Okay, very different sort of thing. Does have some alignment with quote-unquote regular tarot. There are some things that sort of match up, but it's definitely its own thing. There is a big hardcover book that exists, which I would just really love to have, but I don't. So we have astrological correspondences that break down into like zodiac decans and things like that. So all kinds of cool esoteric stuff in here. Okay, now it has a little magnet, so it's kind of tricky to put these back in here, but it'd be interesting to do a little series on this deck, I think. Fun. Okay, I'm making another little pile here on the side so I don't lose track. Pocket edition of The Wild Unknown. I got this just a few months ago and I love it. Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. So this is the quote-unquote naked Pam. I would love to have the dirty Pam, which is the same coloration but different cardstock and has borders. This might be my favorite recoloring of it. I also really love the RWS 2.0 by James Rickliffe, but this is a little darker, and I feel like this would probably be my favorite recoloring of that. the Hush Tarot. This one is a different kind of deck. I love it so much. It sort of has Arthur Rackham vibes for me, that sort of style. I just love it a lot. It's going to be different than RWS. If you're looking for something different, if you want to shake up what you're thinking and seeing and everything like that, and want something sort of storybook, dark but soft color palette, just something kind of different to shake you out of your groove, I would absolutely recommend this. It's just gorgeous to me. Pop these back in. Shimmering Veil Tarot by Siliconway. This is my only Siliconway deck. I am going to need that Book of the Dead Oracle. I think it's an Oracle. But for now, this is the only one I have. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to open it because I'll get lost in it. But 5 stars for sure. Marguerite Peterson. This is a very different deck. I'm not going to get into it because, again, I will go down the rabbit hole. But this is another one I think about working with on my channel a bit and showing a bit more. Not unlike Siliconway's artwork, really. It's I've heard them compared before. It's a similar kind of feeling, very poetic. And this book actually comes with poems, or this deck comes with poems. And so this is the German edition because I wanted this coloration of the borders. The artwork is the same, but I do also have the English version, which has it's in a white box. This is the Naked Heart Tarot by Jillian C. Wild. Super love it. Animals based. It's a clean white background kind of deck. Looks like this. I have her Antiquities of Magic Oracle, which is one of my absolute favorite things. You can see that in my hashtag only 10 decks video. And yeah, had to have it to accompany this. Plus, this is just beautiful. When I first came around TarotTube, I got a reading by Imogen Walters, and she used this deck in that reading. That's where I learned about it, and I just fell in love. Had to have it. Whispering Spirits Tarot by Joanna Nelson. Similar to the Mons Tarot. Similar kind of creatures, but not exactly the same. I like to use it in conjunction with this one as like a light and shadow, where I use Whispering Spirits, this one here in my hand as the as above, and then I use the Mons Tarot as so below, right? So again, a little creatures deck, super love it, and again, something kind of different. Okay, I think we have a couple more for today, and then we will take a break and do another recording probably tomorrow for you. So exciting. Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright, who is a lovely human. I edge this in this crazy magenta. This deck is silhouette based, really nice. You can pop yourself into the scene, which is not something that I require, but I do think it's cool, and this is one of the decks that I have that does that really well, right? The guidebook's awesome. Everything's awesome. Oak, Ash, and Thorn by Stephanie Burrows and Adam Ohlers. I have the Smoke, Ash, and Embers on its way to me, maybe in the next week or so, 2 weeks. So that's exciting. But this was my January daily. Beautiful artwork. Again, I'm going to say, I'm sure you've seen this, but some people probably haven't. I love the nighttime vibe. I love the stars. I love the rain. This deck is just right up my alley. Beautiful. Cardstock's amazing. The box is amazing. It's a great one. If you're into animal decks especially, this could be your number one. last but not least for today, The Good Tarot by Colette Baron-Reid. This was probably in my first 10 or 15 decks. Bought this right off the shelf at Barnes & Noble. I have colored the edges to be super fun and beautiful. And this is, again, one that sort of reads, for some people, like an oracle because of the images and just sort of the feel of it, but is absolutely associated to tarot cards. So you could use it either way. I really love it. I used this for a ton of client readings way back in the beginning for my online client group. And yeah, just a really beautiful, I was going to say watery, but I think that's just because I'm looking at like the teal colors now, but you know, there are those earth vibes in it as well. Really beautiful deck, and again, got lots of use out of it when I first started, and it's probably due up in my rotation again pretty soon here. So, if I can get them back in there. It's definitely kind of oracle sized too, so that might be part of it. Sorry for all the noise. So, oh, I said that was last, but I see 3 more that I have in this little tower, and so I don't want to break up the towers or I'll get confused. So we have 3 more bonus decks in tins. The Smith-Waite Centennial Edition mini in a tin, same backs I showed you earlier, but lighter. And has borders, which I love. Have gotten lots and lots of use out of this little deck. I love the recoloration of it and the size. I love a small little pack. And again, in a tin, amazing. The White Sage Tarot by Teresa Hutch. Animal deck uses chakra associations, definitely something different than the RWS, quote unquote, not going to be for everyone. It's an animal and pip deck. So again, if you are into that sort of thing, this might be for you. And these ribbons associate with the chakra associations that this deck uses. Okay, now, last but not least, the last tin I have over here is the Eyes Wide Tarot by R.L. Crutchfield, our very own Robin at Toadstool Tarot. I love this deck. I say it every time I get it out. Look at the beautiful colors. The characters are so cute to me. This, or someone similar to this quote-unquote Little Norman that we come to know them as later, is featured in Robin's Little Norman's Little Lenormand deck. Same style and same color palette as this deck, which I love because I love using them together. Great little deck. Look at that. Look how cute she is. I love the little Lego looking people. It's a great deck. I used it February 2021 to kind of get me out of my winter blues because of the awesome color palette. And yeah. So there is our last one for today. I'm interested to see how many that was. I'm going to watch this back, make a list. As most of you know, I am tracking this and finally doing an official count of my decks. So I'm excited to see how many we got through in 48 minutes. And then I will be back maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after you see this post. I'll be back with part 2 of my tarot collection. And then we will have 2 parts of Oracle to get through. So thank you so much for watching. If there was any information that I did not give that you would like, a creator name, publisher, where I got the deck, anything like that, please leave me a comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I will catch you next time.